president that said that in his government, transparency and rule of law will be the touchstone, of his presidency. I think, and many will argue whether that worked or not. But as far as this government is concerned, whether you like it or not, transparency is the touchstone. I really think so. Because I always say this in different forums. Once you want to be, if you make up your mind to be transparent, bring in ICT. There's no two ways about it. You can't muck about with it. Anybody that's interested in this record, if you have the permission, we are very quickly able to give you whatever records. For example, the food vouchers, thousands and hundreds of thousands of vouchers have been given out. We have the detail for every one of them. Every one of them, I'll tell you that. And for anybody or agency that is interested, we can give that information. I've just showed you how we've paid 750 million to over, for example, 15,000 youths. We have the records for all of them. Clean, clear records that would speak, to itself. So again, that shows the power of transparency. So we're not surprised. This is where the governor is going with this a situation, a portal, a platform whereby qualified contractors, vendors, consultants, can register, with the government to be considered for the various jobs and would have the capability to bid, for this job. So that's very important. So I thought we'd go through it. So again, a bit more introductory stuff. I have that information there. This is just numbers, okay? For example, the medical village doctors' quarters, we're expecting about 100 building units. The governor has made it very clear. He doesn't expect a single contractor or builder to be able to handle that. He expects to break this up to multiple contractors so that the speed of the project, would work. The judges' quarters, for example, perhaps 42 building units. The model primary school, 10 units. The aviation village, which is ongoing, again, 102 building units. The chairman quarters, one has been done, I think, in Eket, so 30 more to go. The model primary school, 15 building units. If I keep doing this, I would have a lot of slides. So I just thought I'd put some of them underneath there. But in total, we have 389. This is what has been validated and counted. And this is still counting. I think yesterday the governor mentioned about over 400. Not too far from the truth, I'll tell you that. But 389 is what we've seen the material, we've seen the product, we've seen the designs. It's huge. It's huge. And what a time, to be an Akwa Ibomite and be qualified, to do this project. I think everybody will be excited. All right, so again, the procurement portal, the government one-stop portal for qualified contractors, vendors to register and can bid for jobs. This capability will sit with the FGPC and the BPP, Bureau of Public Procurement. They manage this. As you can imagine, the Ministry of Science and Digital Economy, we're just providing, capability. We're just building and deploying, and let's take over and manage it. So perhaps if you have questions that I'm not able to answer in terms of the FGPC capability and technicalities, that's why we have the permanent secretary here. So she will take those questions. But as you can imagine, ours is just the technical, the ICT capability for it. When you visit the site, please take time. It's so important. You'll see all manner of things. For example, how you can register. And it will tell you very clearly you need an AKEID number. It will tell you that and I've explained the reason why, you will need it. You also need to make sure that you provide, your business information. This is important. This is big. As you can imagine, like anything we've done, verification is a big part of whatever we offer digitally. There's no need asking people to fill information you can't verify. There's no need. It's meaningless, I can tell you that. I've just shown you some statistics from the bursary. Those 28,000 and something, those are unique people. We will verify all of them, I can tell you that. It's the same thing with the business information we'd expect from the procurement portal. If your business is not registered with CSC, please do not bother. Is that okay? And with all due respect to our young entrepreneurs, this is a bit another level, right? We want people that are qualified, people that have registered their business, people that have the experience, to be able to, to come in here. And on the website as well, you will find that the requirements are there. At least you need about 8 documents you must provide, and you must provide them. Every single document will be verified. Every single one will be verified. I have to stress that. And perhaps this is not, I'll share that information a little bit further. So like I already alluded to, this is managed by the staff of the State Finance and General Purpose Committee, FGPC, and the Bureau of Public Procurement. They manage it. I'll just provide capability. So if you're looking for someone to blame, it's really not me. Okay, for example, your company is not approved, or for whatever reason, it's really not me. I'm just providing, capability and capacity to get this done. So I will point to the right person very shortly. Then, what they will do once you register, we'll go through all the different stages of verifying the business. And this is why AKE ID is so critical. Immediately you have that 11-digit number, you've been verified. Your personal identity has been verified. So that's one big thing taken out of the chunk. Immediately you come in, you've got 20% of your profile complete. The next thing then is to put in your business detail, the business name, the RC number, if it's a registered company, then the different documents, all the requirements are very clear. And as you add them onto your dashboard, onto your account, you will see, that the system would acknowledge that, and you need to have a profile of 100%, before the FGPC or the BPP can, consider your registration. So you need to put all the documents, because once you put all the documents, that's when they'll be able, to review it. They would also inform you when your registration is in good standing, that's critical, and provide information, to bid for project. That's for the ones that are successful, I should say. Again, I keep stressing, please, this is for only qualified consultant, vendors, or contractors, all right? We're going to do an update on the system to do specific form for consultants, so expect that to happen, tonight. So by tomorrow, if you're a consultant, don't be quick to want to complete this yet, but for the other bits, you can use that form, but we'll do a form for specifically targeted at consultants, to be able to do that. Evidence of successful previous jobs. Mind the word successful. It's one thing to get on the job award letter, another thing to do it and complete it and get a completion letter. So if you have an award letter, I would expect a completion letter that, defines success. Is that okay? So this would be independently verified, as you can imagine. We would reach out to those people and confirm that that is the case. You must submit all required documents before review can be done, of the account. Again, step to register. Visit the Akwa Ibom State.gov, or procurement, I should say. First of all, identity, which is the AKID bit. Identity.akwaibomt.gov.ng. Register. Get your 11-digit passport number. Visit procurement then with that number. Log in. Again, you follow the prompts. It's quite simple to follow. Then get your auto-generated password from the email and log in. Complete the business registration form. Upload your required document. Then immediately you put your RC number, upload your document, you see that your status will say pending verification. And once we would reach out to our third parties digitally and verify that your business is what it says it is. And when that is successful, you'll see a new tab will come up and you will see information about your business. This is just to tell you that we can see, what about your business. That's why it's called a KYB, which is Know Your Business. So we will tell you, we'll reveal some of the information. For example, all the directors, your tax you've paid, whatever, we'll reveal that for you to see that, this information is out there. And it's based on the strength of that information that I can imagine, the owners of the application, in this case the FGPC and the co will be able to invite you, to bid for any project. I've stressed there that we need an RC number. That is critical. When you don't put that, the system will complain and say, look, we need an RC number. And the outcome of that verification, you would also be told. This is a typical dashboard. You would see there that it tells you a profile of 20%. This person has not done anything yet, so it's just come in, from AKID and logged in. So 20%. Then as you add the document, you put bills up to 100%. It's a very simple to use, application. So please, take note. What can go wrong then? Issues with registration. A typical thing we normally get. Oh, my NIN is not found, my NIN is not valid, and all those sort of details. So those issues, we'll solve them, away from the portal. We'll give you a support number. We can help solve that. And also another issue we think could happen is that unsuccessful business KYB checks. For example, you put an RC company name that doesn't match the registration, that's not going to be successful. Or for example, you put a company name that has been dissolved, that's not going to be successful. Or you put a company name that, all sorts. all those things are there. And perhaps I should mention here, we also do AML checks, anti-money laundering checks. For example, it comes back and says, look, this company is known to be a source for AML. That's not going to be successful. But you will get to see all this bit. So that's what you will find there. I really had to take time to mention these few tips, and perhaps it'll be useful. And I hope you can also push this to the public. Number one, please, this is not, all right, it's an empowerment program, if you see it in that light, but it's not one of those you just pick up your phone, sit down, fill a few forms, and it happens. No, this is something really important. Please go to the website, look at the projects. It's a really iconic project, I'll tell you that. Look at the AKBC building. Interesting, fantastic, one of its kind in my opinion. Look at the Akwa Ibom building, one of its kind. It's a serious project. So it's not something you pick up your phone and just start procurement and start to complete it. You can, no doubt, but I think you should look at the requirement, look at the documents, make sure you have it. And if you have the documents, take time and scan them, make them PDF, name them, and get a computer. All right, you can do it on your phone. It's not a case of using a phone. I wouldn't use it. I mean, I like to think I would not use a phone. I'll tell you that. Honestly, I would not use a phone. A bit like doing the American or British visa. I don't think anybody will use a phone for that. You understand the requirement, get a computer and sit down. This is of that level. So please make sure you get your documents, scan them, label them properly, get a computer, sit down. And go to the different bits. I think that's quite important. And I should also stress, I don't think you should rush this. The governor, I don't know, has mentioned that to see considerable applications before he would authorize the BPP and the FGPC to start to consider this application. So don't be in a hurry. At least you have for the next 2 weeks, so take time and get this done properly. This information will form part of your tender bids, tender document. Some of them you can't change it. For example, you give us a company name and RC number. Don't expect that we would allow you to tweak that. It's not going to happen. So please take time and get it right. I appeal to you. Take time and there's no rush. There's no rush. Take time and get it right. It's so important. And don't forget, one thing you must understand about digital services, you're not there to explain the document, right? The document or whatever you're sending speaks for itself. If someone is verifying what you've given against some independent, platform or database. So you're not there to speak for yourself to offer an explanation. So have that at the back of your mind that you should take time and make sure the information you submit is correct. What if you don't understand what you're doing? This is where support lives, okay? We have an email, which is support@procurement.akwaibomstate.gov.ng. And also the Arise support line, we've done a new option, option 4. Again, I need to tell you, okay, the guys manning this phone are not BPP experts. They are not FGPC experts. Okay, I have to say that. So don't expect them to tell you the ins and outs. What they'll advise you on is basic computer usage. Is that okay? For example, I want to upload this form. Is it more than 5 Mbps? No, we don't accept 5 Mbps. Those are the sort of things that we tell you, but don't expect them to start to give you job-specific details. That would not happen. Okay? So please, I think it's very important we understand that. So what I would like you to take away and perhaps help push, to the wider media. Number one, we've been able to bring in a new identity passport, if you like, portal or platform, an 11-digit, unique 11-digit number, where we think considerably will reduce your application time. The first time, obviously, you need to put in all the details, but moving forward to other applications, which I think a few more are coming, You just need that 11-digit number authenticated, and your details are pulled in, and you can move on. So we think that's a big thing. So that's number one I want you to take away. Number two, obviously, is the procurement portal. And what about the procurement portal? We want qualified, contractors, consultant, vendors to go there and apply. We also ask you, please, the details you submit, let them be accurate. Let them also be very valid details, because we're going to verify them. And number three, I want you to see where the support lives. Make sure you have this detail and shade. We're here to support you. I don't think there's any need to rush. With anything digital service, please. Sometimes the problem could actually be your device. It could also be your connectivity. So please, we've tested these things. That doesn't mean we can't see issues, so don't be shy to report what you think are issues. But before you report, try again. And like I said, don't feel frustrated. Don't feel like if somehow you've been deliberately sidelined. That's not the case. We really want this. The governor's ambition is very clear. It wants a transparent, open process where everybody that's qualified can compete and be able to build this, do these jobs, if you like. So I think it'd be most unfair if we now create some encumbrance, not to achieve that. Our objective is to ensure that we help the governor achieve this ambition. So we want this to work. We want this to work. So again, I will probably take questions now, as many questions as you can. Hopefully I'll be able to answer them. And then anything, for example, bidding specific, FGP specific, the Permanent Secretary is here and would help us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There is how a lecturer delivers a lecture, and even if you don't understand, you feel so reluctant to ask questions because it will appear as if you're undermining such a powerful presentation. But I think for now, what you can do best to appreciate him is to just jam your hands together. The Honorable Commissioner for Science and Digital Economy. Yeah, very, very swagalicious there. But at that point, I think we need to entertain the questions. You're going to raise your hands, indicate. You also have the Secretary of the LGPC, who's also here. And so whoever you want to direct your questions to, you can do that. Of course, you have the Commissioner for Information. You also have the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor. And you even have the Chairman of NDJ. If you want to ask a question, of course, you can ask any of them the question. So just indicate by lifting your hands, then you will come ask your questions, please. Okay, I recognize Ms. Comfort Umana. Okay. Also recognize Kufre Etuk, Kavil Iwang, in that order. I noticed that Isaac Job is also having his hands up. So I think that is okay. We have all the senatorial districts, the 4 senatorial districts in this hall covered. So we'll start with, I don't know if we have another microphone down there. Okay, so we'll start with Ms. Comfort Omana.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is already mentioned. So there are non-Akwa Ibom people living in Akwa Ibom paying tax in Akwa Ibom. And some of them may have been doing contracts with Akwa Ibom State. How are they accommodated in this exercise? I hope I'm permitted to ask more than one question.
Go ahead.
So sometimes when people fill form online, you come across network busy. How do you accommodate? How do you take care of that? And I will really want to understand again how to get the 11-digit ID to get name registered. So when it comes to the food voucher is really with the people in the villages. And some of the people that may need this food voucher, they are not digital.
register for the procurement thing and also get all this contracts as well. Thank you very much.
At that point, we'll hand over process of answering all your questions in this first part.
Yes, thank you very much. I think
let me start, gentlemen, because I think we need to ask questions from a standpoint of knowledge, so that because somebody asked a question that he read through the BPP law and there's no provision or legal backing for what we are doing. And I want to tell you that that is false. If you have read the Akwa Ibom State Procurement Law, Section 54, as we have in this law, prescribes e-procurement, and particularly at Part 1, it says, and I read, upon the passage of this law, the Bureau shall set up an e-procurement portal, which shall be the primary and definitive source of information for public procurement matters and opportunities within the purview of the law and regulations issued here under. So I will request, please, that you go back and read the procurement law properly so that you can ask your questions properly. The government is acting within the ambit of the law. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. I'll just take the other questions that are not law tied. Yeah. I think, if we can just see, with all due respect, this governor is doing everything possible to ensure that it touches the lives of everyone. I think we need to try and not be encumbrance to that and do everything possible to support him, okay? So please, I will take question from Madam Comfort. You asked that, what about non-Akwa Ibomites, correct? Madam, I think it's a really fantastic question. If you are a qualified contractor, all right, a qualified vendor, qualified consultant, and you're Nigerian, you have a NIN that says you're Nigerian, you have a VIN that shows ties to Akwa Ibom, please, by all means, do not delay. And that's why you have VIN. VIN shows that you have ties to Akwa Ibom. Do not delay. As quick as you like. That's now up to the BPP, the FGPC to, agree whether what job you can bid for or not. So please, I think that answers the question. Is that okay? This is not a student bursary. Student bursary, we're interested in, you've got to be from Akwa Ibom, right? And we're interested in your certificate of origin because the bursary, says that you have to be an Akwa Ibomite. You also asked a question about network issue. That's more like air. We can't quite manage network issues. We would really appeal to you. Make sure before you start, make sure you have good network. It will work. Most of the tests we've done, we're using this typical MiFi's, and then they support our application. So that's the lowest you can get here. So it does work. So, normally it should be fine. But that doesn't mean that you could be in the middle of an application and the thing stops to work. Then you just need to find a way to resolve it. It's not really, the issue for us. You asked a question, you want to now to get the 11-digit number. Madam, go to identity.akwaibomstate.gov.ng. I'll just see if I can put the link back up again. Yeah, that's it. Go there. The instructions are very straightforward. Step 1, this is what you need. For the first time, or for the only time, we hope, you need to have your NIN, you need to have your VIN, you need to have your bank details, then register. Go through the liveness test, have an account. That 11-digit number, take a photo of it, hold it somewhere safe, okay? The email you provide for us or the phone number will send you, the password. You're able to change this once you log in. And with that detail, moving forward, you will not need the NINs and VIN again. And perhaps this is a good time to also maybe answer Kavil's question about privacy. What we've also done, and perhaps I didn't want to really share that here so that I don't make it sound too over digital. What we've done is that if you log in 3 times, the fourth time, we would ask you for a liveness. We're going to integrate that, so we have to confirm that you're still in control of that account. Is that okay? So we'll ask you for a liveness. We'll do a liveness, grab a picture, do comparison, and confirm is you. then. So every fourth time, that's what you'll be experiencing, okay, just to make sure that you still, for example, I know it's typical that you go to cyber cafe and perhaps give the pass for people to use. We don't want them logging in and using that when you're not around. If they do it once and twice, the third time and the fourth time, they should not be able to do it again because you're not there. So that's some security things, that we've brought in. I didn't really want to explain that, but it's there. Madam, you brought in the food voucher one. Again, great question. Madam, I probably should explain how the food voucher works. We don't curate the who's on the food voucher. That's for Ministry of Economic Development. Obviously, they have the state social register and they also have the federal social register. They've meshed this together into some social register. So that data is not my responsibility, but they give us that data. And what we will find, recall that the governor appointed ward PAs, right? So it's the ward PA that, and also recall that the governor, gave them nice tablets. On these tablets, they have an app that, for example, in every ward's PA's ward, if I could say that, he has the names of people that are on the social register. So he's got the social register for his ward digitally on his tablet, right? And when he gets the voucher, it goes to see the person he needs, take a picture, scan, and make sure it's the right person, then issues a voucher. So it's not really a case of, a case where people are not getting food. If you're on the social register, you will get a voucher and you will get food. And I'm going to tweak that slightly. Also recall that with the purchase of the food trucks, the food trucks you see driving around, that has slightly changed a bit. It means that government is now taking this food to the people. As you can imagine, during the Christmas period, these trucks were going to every local government council and taking food to everyone. So, again, I think this governor has done well in that regard. So, perhaps, hopefully that answers, that question. Someone from the Sun thought that the employment portal, how many people have been employed. Recall two Saturdays ago, I stand corrected, when the government launched the Akwa Ibom Emergency Center, 80 persons have been employed from the portal from there. I'm just giving you a number from the top of my head, right? And also, the maritime, I don't know what it's called, the ship they're building, for that, they're employing from there. Again, the construction firms, the bulletins, the NSEC, the numbers you see, they employ from there. I would like to give you an exact number, but the governor has made it very clear. Every employment will come through the employment portal. And what you must also know, even civil service, that's where those data will be pulled from. So I think it's quite big. If you're asking me things like, how many people have been paid 50,000, just under 16,000 have been paid, which is huge. Like I said, we've got another 750 million approved for the next set of 15,000, which is 5,000 a month, 5,000 January, February, and March. So again, these are the sort of numbers you probably want to, to take with you. I was asked a question again, and also you seem to use the word too digital. I've never heard that one before, but it's a new one. I don't think there's anything like too digital. It's either you're here, you're not. So Akwa Ibom is digital, and that's how we like it. Because we're transparent. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner, for answering the question on the law and what we should do and shouldn't do. And Kavi, you mentioned about videos and FAQ. We've got FAQ on there, but the video is not yet. We plan to. As you can imagine, yes, we would even update that. The Commissioner of Information is just telling me now. So I think very quickly, we know this is new. I'm not under any illusion. I know this is new. I expect some difficulties, and what we can do is get the channels to receive these issues and see how we can very quickly solve them. That's what it's never been done before. We have to admit it. So I'm excited for the challenge, and hopefully we'll get it right. That's why we need you guys to be here, and hopefully, if you can share the information we have out there, I think we will cut the problem by half, because everything is information. That's why we're doing this. If we can share the information out, it would help us, quite a lot. We will do videos, we will do FAQ, step by step. We already have them. If it's not enough, we listen to our call center. Every now we hear what people say, and we see how we can respond very quickly to that. And I should also say, for the persons that tried to get on the procurement portal before today, we had to delete your account. I'm really sorry, because there were changes and upgrades we've just done, which is now made it ready to go. So please, you have to go back and reapply again, so that we can get it wrong. There were not a lot of people, but on the AKA ID, we've got quite a lot of people. There's nothing wrong with that. That one still leaves. That 11-digit number still leaves. But for procurement bid, because there were changes we needed to do, so that's why. But I ask everyone, please, it's stable now, it's good to go now, so you can apply. And you asked a question about government officials. No, and I'll tell you what. Yes, I mean, I hear the commissioner say they are not businessmen. That's why I like to think. And just so you know, okay, I'll leave this open and I'll let you concentrate. We have quite a lot of data. I don't know how to explain that other than just say what I've told you. So when we say we're doing a KYB, so once you put an RC number and put your business detail, we would pull out everything about that business. I can tell you that. Everything. We will know all the directors. We will know all the names of the directors. We will see everything. And we'll know if director is any of them is civil servant. We will know, so you know what I'm telling you. So you know how to deal with that. So please, this is not for government official. And this is targeted. Someone also asked a question and was saying you probably need to do youth training. Not really for this, all right? This is targeted at certain individuals, whether youths or elderly people or women, or if you're a qualified contractor, vendor, and meet those requirements, it's for you. If you've met those requirements in theory, we think you should be able to do this. But anyway, we have the support lines to be able to help. So I hope we've been able to answer all the questions. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General Commissioner. I think we'll take any follow-up question that could just wrap it up. But let me understand that any contractor or any potential contractor who is unable to open this site and fill a form is already disqualifying himself. I mean, would you like such a contractor to come and handle your project? Well, I think we have just one indicator. Okay, so the God Pekin will ask the last question.
Good afternoon. My question is on the AK ID, yeah? I want to find out, non-indigenous of Akwa Ibom who are based here, are they qualified to apply? And then do we have age limits, a particular age range that can apply for the identity? Thank you.
Gentlemen, if you know what God Pekin used to do, you just laugh. We asked for the response to that question. And he also asked if it's also limited to gender, male or female, and so on. Okay.
All right, thank you. But I actually think it's a great question. Any question that just makes people, think and ponder, I think is a good question. Yeah, you're right. Like I mentioned to Madam Comfort, anyone that has ties to Akwa Ibom can apply. Citizens or indigenous or non-indigenous, but you have strong ties. And what we're using to measure ties to Akwa Ibom, if you vote in Akwa Ibom, for example, that's what we're using. And also, you talk about age limit. Even the employment portal, which are for youth, we don't really apply age limits. Obviously we do when we're paying the 50,000, but in terms of coming in, we're not applying age limit. So we don't yet have a service that uses age limit to do anything. All right, thank you.
And then we invite the Chief Prosecutor to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State for. Okay, so we invite the Chairman of NDJ for his vote of thanks.
Praise the Lord. The Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Information, my boss, Honorable Aneka Numana, the Commissioner for ICT and Digital Economy, my brother, Dr. Frank Ekbeyong, my in-law, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, and my leader, Comrade Ekere Udo, my PS and International President, Akbarawa James, said that the SSA to the Governor, Dr. Etienne Dueso, and the Secretary of the FGPC, very distinguished colleagues. Mine today is just to witness another history in 20 months of distinctive service of His Excellency Governor Imoino in the Aras agenda of Akwa Ibom State. What we are witnessing today is another trail of another first in the last 20 months, and specifically in the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, we witnessed the renaissance in the health sector emergency services. Over the weekend, we witnessed how governance can be brought closer to the people through the town hall meeting. Yesterday, we witnessed the maritime hub at Oron. During the week also, day before yesterday, we witnessed the first of its kind, where we had an entrepreneurial empowerment for over 2,000 Akwa Ibom people, the very first of its kind. And today, I would like to describe this as a very technical empowerment for upcoming indigenous contractors for Akwa Ibom State. And so what we are witnessing is not just leadership, but a leader that came prepared to serve Akwa Ibom State. And in 20 months, we have seen this. 400 projects on ground, new indigenous contractors coming up on board, new millionaires coming up on board, new creative content developers coming up on board, and a new future for Akwa Ibom State with projects scattered all over different sectors. And I want to say, this is just the new beginning for Akwa Ibom State, and this is where history continues to flow for a prosperous future. I want to assure His Excellency the Governor that the media community will continue to interpret and promote his programs. We will continue to ensure that the Arise agenda, which is already on a very full steam course, will continue to have that mileage for growth, for sustained development for Akwa Ibom people, because Akwa Ibom people in the end will not just become very happy with what the governor is doing. The state will not just become a destination, but Akwa Ibom has now become a reference, not just for good governance, but for quality leadership. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much. And on that note, we invite the Chief Press Secretary of the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Kerite Udo.
The Honorable Commissioner for Information and the Commissioner for Science and Digital Economy, respectively, the Permanent Secretary of FGPC and that of Information, of course, my wonderful in-law and the Chairman of NUJ Akwa Ibom State Council, Comrade Amos Etuk, my colleague, Dr. Sendwe, so all the chapter chairmen that have turned up here this afternoon. Again, I want to thank you for being here at short notice, as you always do. You've listened to the great presentation by the erudite good friend of mine, the Honorable Commissioner for Science and Digital Economy. And you've also listened to, or you've also asked questions which I believe the answers provided may have assuaged or answered some of the concerns you may have developed. One important point that I like also to take away from this interaction is that His Excellency the Governor is desirous of producing millionaires from Akwa Ibom State who are gifted with works of their hands and who are desirous of contributing to the advancement and the success of the Arise agenda, especially those that have done contracts, vendors across the board. Like you said yesterday, around the era of people expecting monies to be carried in Ghana must go back, or backs rather, Ghana must go back with that corresponding contribution. Pretty much are over. That era is over for good. So if you are gifted with the work of your hands, you will be gifted with things to do, contracts and other things that advance the cause of the Arise agenda. So I implore you to go back to your respective platforms and spread the news that the governor is out, passionately dedicated to supporting Akwa Ibomites who are passionate and they can prove with verifiable body of work, especially in contracts, buildings, and all of that. And so, once again, I thank you for coming, and I want to believe that the news is going to be spread across all the platforms. God bless you all. And
with that, we've come to the end of this press briefing. We thank all of you for coming. We thank the team from the multimedia who have made this transmission possible. And we thank the Honorable Commissioners, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, the Permanent Secretaries, and of course the Chairman of NUJ. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with that, we've called it time on this transmission. Bye.